Hundreds of us spun up OpenClaw agents to save time, and in the past 8 weeks, attackers have treated them like open doors. A stolen gateway token on February 2nd gave strangers full shell on someone's workstation. 5 days later, the ClawedBleed exploit proved a single DM link could run commands without approval. This video isn't about scaring you. It's about showing you exactly how to stop being the easy target. We're going to break down every security boundary inside of OpenClaw, show you the real-world fails that happen when those boundaries were ignored, and give you a governance playbook you can copy. If your AI agent touches your data, your client's data, or your reputation, the next 10 minutes might be the most valuable time you could spend this week. OpenClaw was designed for a single trusted operator sitting behind a locked-down gateway. Most of us ignored that and pointed the same tool, enabled brain at Slack rooms, Discord servers, even shared inboxes. That mismatch is why prompt injections leak secrets and why one untrusted DM can hijack the whole agent. In the rest of the video, we're going to reconcile those two worlds. We'll map the security architecture OpenClaw actually ships with and layer the governance controls you need if more than one person ever messages your bot. By the end, you'll know how to keep collaboration high without turning your assistant into a liability. To keep this conversation practical, I want to visualize the 5 layers of your OpenClaw deployment. Layer 1, channel access, is every inbound surface. So this is WhatsApp, Slack channels, Telegram bots, whatever you're communicating with your bot in. Layer 2, the gateway, is the actual OpenClaw WebSocket or Tailscale, the served endpoint that authenticates those senders. Layer 3 is the session stack. This is how OpenClaw isolates conversations per channel, per peer, or just dumps everything into the main. Layer 4 controls tool execution, whether your agent can touch the local shell, file system, browser, or remote nodes. Layer 5 is the supply chain architecture, the Claw Hub skills, NPM utilities, model downloads, anything you import into the runtime. I'm showing you this because every governance control we implement lands on one of these rings. If you know which ring you're touching, you know what risk you're shrinking. Now I'm going to talk about actual security breaches that have happened with OpenClaw. Let me slow this timeline down because each of these breaches were very public and very preventable. February 2nd, researchers posted on the Hacker News after a red teamer tweeted proof of concept code showing how a leaked OpenClaw gateway token let them hijack an existing chat session. They simply replayed the token, the gateway thought they were the owner, and within seconds, they were running exec commands. This bounced around Twitter for a few days, which is how most of us first heard about it. On February 7th, SecureLick published a deep dive they nicknamed ClawedBleed. A single malicious link, literally a DM with a URL, tricked OpenClaw into approving a shell command without human review. They posted the technical write-up on their blog and clipped screenshots to LinkedIn, so the exploit went viral in security circles fast. On February 20th, the NPM maintainer of Client CLI had their token stolen. For roughly 8 hours, everyone who ran NPM install Client CLI pulled down a version that silently spun up a backdoored OpenClaw instance. GitHub's security advisory and NPM status page documented the compromise, and dozens of developers posted screenshots on Reddit showing the malicious install banner. March 16th, Prompt Armor, a small security lab, live-streamed a prompt injection test. They dropped poisoned instructions inside a shared email inbox. The OpenClaw agent read the email, obeyed the hidden instructions, and exfiltrated conversation history. The replay hit YouTube and Hacker News the same day. I'm walking you through each event because they prove this isn't speculation. Real attackers and researchers have already crossed every boundary we just mapped out. If we know how they did it, we know exactly where to harden our own deployments. These breaches prove every ring can fail, so here's the operating system for hardening them. We're going to be covering each of these pillars for the rest of the video. Each one is tied to a specific layer of your OpenClaw architecture. Identity. Who can even talk to the agent? Parent codes, allow lists, mention gating, per channel session scopes. This is where you decide whether strangers in a Slack thread can trigger shell commands. Number 2, execution. What can the agent actually do if someone convinces it? Sandboxing, tools.exec approvals, interpreter allow lists, browser control policies. These are the breaks that stop a prompt from becoming a shell. Number 3, secrets. What data can the agent reach? Lock down the command OpenClaw, redact logs, rotate tokens, keep reusing outputs off in public rooms. If sensitive files aren't readable, they can be exfiltrated. Supply chain. What code are you trusting? Every ClawHub skill, NPM package, or model weight is a potential malware dropper. Scan them, pin versions, prefer NemoClaw OpenShell blueprints when possible. Monitoring. How do you know when someone drifted? Run OpenClaw security audit deep. Watch logs, rehearse incident response so you can contain, rotate, and recover quickly. We're focusing on these 5 because they're actionable. If you can point to a control in each pillar, you can explain exactly how your agent is protected and where the remaining risk sits. Let's start with pillar 1, identity, deciding exactly who can reach the agent and how their sessions are scoped. OpenClaw gives us 3 layers. First, DM policy. Keep it on pairing or allow list so new senders have to request access and you can approve or deny from the CLI. Second, session scope. Switch session.dm scope from the default main to per channel peer so each person in channel gets its own context instead of sharing in the same memory. Third, group gating. Require @ mentions in open rooms and use group allow from so only trusted usernames can trigger the bot, even if everyone can read the channel. When you combine those, a random Discord DM or a noisy WhatsApp group can't silently drive a tool-enabled agent. That's the difference between my AI is helpful and my AI just ran whatever the internet told it to. Next pillar, execution. Assume someone eventually slips past identity controls. That's why we clamp what the agent is even allowed to do. Start with the sandbox. Run OpenClaw or NemoClaw inside Docker, OpenShell, so every tool call lives behind landlock, succumb, and a dedicated workspace. Set sandbox workspace access to none, so even if the agent reads files, it can't rewrite your repo. Then tune tools.exec, set security, ask or deny. Keep interpreters off the safe bins list unless you truly need them. And enable strict inline eval so a prompt can't sneak Python through inline C calls. Finally, restrict remote nodes in browser control so only approved commands or URLs run. If prompt injection is inevitable, these breaks make sure it can't go past the sandbox wall. Even with identity and execution locked down, your assistant can only leak what it can read. So pillar 3 is about secrets and monitoring them. Lock down the OpenClaw set directory commands. Lock down OpenClaw set directory perms to 700, configs to 600. And keep the folder on encrypted disk. Treat session transcripts as sensitive. Rotate them or store them per agent so one compromised DM doesn't expose every conversation. Disable reasoning and verbose in public rooms so internal tool traces never leave your terminal. Then run OpenClaw security audit deep whenever you change configuration. It will flag world-readable credentials, open HTTP bindings, and risky exec policies before an attacker finds them. Finally, bake credential rotation into your routine. API keys, tokens, pairing approvals. If you treat your agent's file system like production infrastructure, you'll never have to tweet out an apology for leaked prompts. Prompt injection isn't theoretical. It's just untrusted content with an agenda. The defense is architectural. First, split duties. Use a read-only ingest agent to summarize emails, RSS feeds, or tickets. Then pass only the sanitized summary to your tool-enabled actor agent. Second, wrap external content. OpenClaw already adds XML wrappers. Reinforce them by reminding the model to ignore instructions outside the wrapper. Third, require explicit confirmation before sending data to a new destination, even if the agent thinks it should reply elsewhere. And finally, keep reasoning and verbose disabled in public rooms so hidden instructions buried in logs don't reach other users. The pipeline on this slide is the playbook. Untrusted docs, reader shield, sanitized summary, actor. Everything else stays off the table. The last pillar is supply chain, and it's the one we forget about until GitHub or NPM posts an advisory. Even ClawHub skill, NPM utility, or model weight you install is code from someone else's laptop. So treat installs like production deploys. Scan tarballs with virus total or OpenShell's code. Inside hooks, review the skill MD, and pin the exact version hash. If you adopt NVIDIA's NemoClaw blueprint, keep your blueprint repo under version control so policy changes are auditable. When you absolutely need an experimental skill, run it in a disposable sandbox first. The goal is simple. Nothing touches your agent unless you know who wrote it, what it does, and how to roll it back. If all of this sounds like a lot to wire by hand, this is where NVIDIA's NemoClaw stack helps. It installs OpenClaw inside the OpenShell runtime, so you get Docker-grade isolation plus policy enforcement out of the box. The blueprint on screen shows the flow. Host OS at the bottom, OpenShell runtime on top, then the NemoClaw sandbox where your agent runs. Every tool call passes through a privacy router that decides whether to hit local Nemotron models on your GPU or call out to cloud APIs. And each layer has shielded policies you can audit. The point is leverage. Instead of scripting sandbox rules yourself, you can inherit a hardened baseline and only tweak what your workflow needs. That accelerates deployment and keeps the governance story consistent. I hope this video was helpful. If this was a little too complex for you, you can just copy and paste the transcript into your agent or large language model, and it will surely help guide you to maximum security for your agent. If you thought this video was helpful, please drop a like. I am coming out with videos just like this every week, so please subscribe if you want to continue learning about OpenClaw and the newest AI tools and workflows. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.